Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here. Welcome to 60 and Me. 60 and Me is a community of older women over 60 who are looking to use makeup to bring out the best in them, to look on the outside as great as they feel on the inside. And I do regular little makeup sessions. They're not really tutorials, they're just really my experience with makeup and things that happen to me in the world that I discover new things and want to share with you. So I am here today with no makeup on. Teeny bit of gloss on my lip, but just wanted to share with you a fun story and a topic that may be of interest to you, which is makeup palettes. Now, okay, just a very quick background here. I was in Scotland over the holidays and I got to the train station in Edinburgh and I decided to leave my bag in the train station, my big bag, and then just go with a light small bag to the hotel where I was staying for the night. So I did that. I got halfway down the street and I remembered, oh my gosh, my makeup was all in the big bag. So what am I going to do in the morning when I have no makeup? So I dashed into Boots, the chemist, which for those of you who live in the UK will know is a it's a big drugstore chain. And I went over to the makeup aisle and there were like hundreds of options. And I thought, gosh, I want to spend like no more than $15 or pounds in that case. What can I buy that's going to help me? So I was about to buy a little bit of foundation, a little bit of eyeshadow, and then I thought, what about a palette? Now I don't know many palettes. I've seen some of the eyeshadow palettes, like Too Faced, the peachy, and other ones for just eyes or just cheeks or combinations. Very, very little you ever see in, like a mix with foundation, of course, or mascara. So I saw this palette looking at me on the shelf, and it was kind of looked a bit battered, and I thought, maybe it's a tester, but I picked it up and it wasn't. But anyway, it's the palette. I'll show it to you. It's by Gigi Hadid. Can you see that? It's a bit glary, but Gigi Hadid, she is apparently a model and a young woman who's, very popular right now. Maybelline seemed to have connected with her and put together this palette. Now, the funny story is, of course, it was the last one on the shelf. So the poor woman who at checkout, which was just closing, decided she would help me, ran to the back to find another one, couldn't find the price. And finally, after about 10 minutes of us just giggling at how silly this all was, that I was getting so crazy over a palette of makeup, we found a price. And, well, in fact, she sold it to me for £10. She said, it's the last one, have it for £10, which is about $13. So I thought, great. And I got back and used it, and I really loved it. It's called the Jetsetter palette, and I'll put the link in for you. But anyway, inside. Now, I've used this a few times, so you'll have to excuse the look of it a bit. But it's got two concealers, which you can use as foundation. It's got two lip glosses, which are really nice. I'll show you in a bit. Two little brushes, one for the blush and highlighter, and then a smaller one for eyes and brows and whatever. And then it's got a beautiful blush. I'm just trying to get this mirror down here so it doesn't get in our way. And then bronzer here, if I can show this one, you can see. And then a highlighter, and there's a mascara here. I took it out because it keeps falling out. So there's a mascara. So all of that. And I thought that was a pretty good collection. So I'm going to try putting it on today and see what happens. And if you've got any palettes that you really love, leave them in the comment section below, because it'd be really great to share with other women in our community, what you've discovered that is as pretty good as holistic. I mean, this has got just a little of everything in it. So first thing, foundation. Now, of course, I don't want to use this concealer because even though it's really, really cool, they give you two different colors here. You can blend them together. I'm going to use a foundation that I've just discovered. Well, I've known L'Oreal for years, but I found a new one that I wanted to share with you. I normally use the Infallible 24-hour matte. Really like it. It's great, and it's good coverage for me. But I discovered a new one on the shelf this week, which is a total cover. It says, oh, wait, excuse me, that was the 24-hour matte. This one here is the total cover. And Total Cover, if you buy this and you try it, you're going to go, oh my gosh, Margaret, what have you recommended to me? Because it is so thick. It's just like, it's really kind of, when you put it on your finger, it's like you literally won't fall. I'll show you. But anyway, I personally love it. And especially when you're doing work on the camera like this, or you're trying to get an all-day coverage that stays on, we'll try it. Excuse the background noise. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there's some construction going on. But I'll talk, as into the microphone, and hopefully you'll hear it okay. So anywho, now there, I'm just putting it on my finger. And you can just get an idea of how incredibly thick this foundation is. But when you put it on, and I'm going to do this, it's very, very interesting. And when you let it go for the whole day, you'll find that it just doesn't give up. Now I'm just going to use my fingers because now as to start with, it's going to look a little bit light because but it blends in. I'm not going to use a brush right now. I have used my Artiste brush with this foundation, and it works really, really well. But I'm going to just, and I put it always, I probably shouldn't, but I do on my eyelids. And then just make sure you blend it in, but you don't feel the texture. You don't feel it's really heavy. And so I'm going to just continue putting this on. And it gives, for me, a really, really nice foundation. Now I will use my little mirror here because I'm looking at my phone as we talk. But so can you see? I mean, for me, that's a really nice coverage. And I'll just get in the eyes here and blend in as well as I can without looking in my mirror right the second on. I'll look now. Did I? Oh, I missed this big piece on my nose. You think I could see that? Okay. Here we go. So this is my L'Oreal Total Coverage Foundation. I'm using number 12, but you'll see that this is probably, it comes in I think like 4 or 5 colors. It's on my lips now, so it's a little bit light. I don't seem like a ghost here. There we go. Okay, I think I've done an okay job of blending it in, but of course at home you're going to take a lot more time and do this properly. So that's the foundation, L'Oreal Total Coverage. I love it. I'm really, honestly, a big fan. And it stays on all day. It's really, really wonderful. I'm going to wipe my hands here for a sec. Okay, so now I'm going to take this Gigi Hadid palette that I used and do my best to recreate a look. Now, with palettes, I found, the ones I've looked at, the brushes are not that great, but this one isn't too bad. It's actually quite good. So it's you might want to take a little if you're traveling, another little bag of brushes, but this one's all right for what the purpose. So the top is the blush, and I'm just going to dab it. Now I've found from experience that this you tend to get a little bit of it's soft. So I just try to be very careful not to put too much on. Whoops, and I'll just blend it in here. And it's got some color. It's definitely got pigment. I'm going to blend it again in a second, so if you just bear with me. Isn't that nice though? It's a really nice peachy color. And I'm just going to use my fingers to blend it here. I like it. From the minute I put it on, I really thought it was sparkly and bright and a clear color. It's not pink, it's definitely peach, and it's got that kind of glow to it. Now, there is a bronzer that they include in this palette, which I don't normally use, but just for fun, I'm going to try just a little bit and just put a tiny dab on the side of the brush and just not really do too much crazy contouring, but just for me, just bring it straight out to the side. That just gives a little bit of definition. It's not a bad brush actually, it's actually very cool. And it's a good size. It's got texture to it too. Now that is the blush and a little bit of bronzer, not too much. But what I love about this palette is the highlighter. You can see it, this one on the bottom, this one here. It's quite, you can see it's peachy, but it's actually almost like translucent color. And then if you take the brush, turn it over a bit, and you can just put that on the top of your blush. See the nice like glow it gives you? It's really pretty, and you don't have to use very much. It's extremely pigmented, and you can just do a little bit of dab on the top. I thought that was oh, my nose is glowing in the sunshine though too. But there we go. And I'll just take a look in the mirror just to make sure I've got everything lined up properly. Yeah, you can see. But isn't that nice? I mean, I really like the way that the highlighter just kind of glows at the top of the peach blush. So that's my cheeks. And the brush that they also provide for eyes is two-sided. So there's a very small brush at the bottom and then a fluffier one at the top. And it says you can use this small brush for your brows. Now, I, as you know, have very thin brows, but I'm going to just try that by just dabbing a little bit in the brown. And then I'm going to use my other mirror, though, so that I can see a little bit better here what I'm doing with my eyebrows. So excuse me for a second while I do this. Now, I didn't have, of course, any makeup with me in the morning, so this was a lifesaver. So, because my eyebrows are super, super thin. So I just put that on. And then that gave me maybe a little dark, but it was great. I really liked it. So, for the eyeshadow. Now, I have a bunch of eyeshadows that I love, and I take them with me when I travel. I didn't have any, of course, so there in the palette, there's a very light, whitey kind of one for the base, which I'll just pop on here. And I will put it all over my eyes. I'll just sort of cover it gently, but use the color that she's given here in the palette. And I'll do this one too. A bit white, a little bit light perhaps, but I think it goes on really nicely. Good thing about this palette, by the way, and it is available now, I mean, you can get it on Amazon, is that it's actually, the colors are good quality. It's a good quality palette. It's not like, you're buying something that's going to fade in a couple of hours or it's just not going to be very pretty. But this is the base. Very simple. And then there's kind of a mauve color. Didn't find this very dark for me, so I might mix it with the brown a bit. But here's the kind of purple, it's purple lilac color. It's not very dark, but I'm going to just put it on the eyes there. Brushes, again, this is a very cool brush. It's not, I'm using the wrong end actually. There we go. It's very user-friendly. Now, I actually find that not too bright, so I'm going to use some of the brown, both on the edge. If I can just use a smaller brush, just on the crease. A little bit here. I'm going to blend that in a sec. Okay, let's see what's going on here. It's a little tricky with my phone. Not the best mirror in the world for putting on makeup. But you get the idea. This palette has got a lot of options, and you can make it as more dramatic if you want, or you can make it less so. But I'm going to just try to blend that in a teeny bit at the top. And this side too. Okay, so I think given the fact that I didn't have a lot of fancy colors to work with, I think that turned out pretty well. I'm going to now also use a bit of the concealer. Remember I mentioned to you that there were two colors here? I'm just going to use a tiny dab on my finger, on my middle finger, to put on the concealer here. I'm mixing the two colors together and tapping them under my eye. And again, really nice quality concealer. It goes on very nicely. It's smooth, not chunky or streaky. So that's the kind of the look. And I've got a couple of little age spots I would love to just cover a bit. So I'll just do that right here, and there's one right there too. So that's the eyes. And mascara, well, the mascara is a small mascara, comes in, it fits into the palette, which is great. You don't often see that, but it's got a nice brush. And I'm going to just pop on some mascara here using my 20 stroke technique. I'll do 10 on that side first. Just be gentle. You don't have to. I'm rushing a little bit here. I'm sure you don't want to watch me put my makeup on or my mascara on, but you can see it's coming really nicely together. And I think that of all the mascaras I've ever used, this is actually one of the nicer ones. So all in all, the palette really offered some good product and I think a nice look. So just a little quick check to make sure that I've got them more or less even. Okay, that's good. So that's the eyes with my Gigi Hadid Jetsetter Palette. And I'm going to just do the lips now too. Now I didn't actually, I don't have a lip liner with me today, so I'm just really going to use the two that they've got here. I think that when I first I didn't have a liner when, when I was struggling there. So I'm going to just pop on with my finger the gloss on the bottom. I just think it's really pretty and works just fine by itself. So just one sec here. It may be a little bit lighter than I would normally use. But it's beautifully, it feels so good on your lips. It's a bit more. You never know how much is too much, but I think it's nice. It feels good. Okay. That's it. So it's very pretty. And it feels wonderful. It stays on. It's not one of those lip glosses that doesn't have any color to it or any pigment. So that's my look. I really like it. I think that for a palette, it works so well. Concealer was an added bonus. Having mascara in there too was wonderful. Having good quality product was fantastic. And I think it turned out pretty well for £10. Well, in your case, if you buy it now, it's going to cost a little closer to $25, but you can find it online. And I think it's really great for travel. I'm going to take this with me when I travel in the future. Maybe pop a couple of extra brushes in so that I'm I'm covered. Maybe it's a different lip color, a little darker that I can blend with, because this is a little bit light for me, but I like it. What do you think? So that's my Gigi Hadid palette review and try out. If you have a palette that you love and you'd like to share it with us, just leave it in the comment section below. And I hope you enjoyed the experiment with makeup, and I really do look forward to coming back and sharing more with you in the future. Thanks everybody. Take good care. Bye bye for now.